As the crocodile's aggressive, but this is an example of how lazy an alligator is. We had this one alligator when we just had the one alligator, and we had these chickens that Don had to make up a diluter for his semen. The semen lived on the egg yolk, and he put a certain on the yolk of the egg.
For how long a period of time?
He froze it and put it into the liquid nitrogen at 320 degrees below zero, and it lived forever. It lived as long as you didn't let it thaw out. And he had some that he was working with the USDA on. They froze semen from the particular kind of cow, like the Angus, that's what they were working with. And they were going to keep that semen frozen for 15 years, and they were going to thaw it out and breed 15-year-ago cattle with today's cattle and see what the difference in they would do they had some kind of study set up, so it lasts forever. But that's what you put the diluter in. So we always kept chickens so that we would have day-old eggs. We'd have to have fresh egg yolk for the diluter. So we would go down, we would eat the extra eggs that he didn't use for the diluter. So we would go down and get the eggs.
They lots of eggs.
Yeah, we had a lot of eggs. We had a lot of chicken, a lot of eggs in those days. So that's when I'd put my hand up in and reach down and touch a chicken steak because they'd swallow our eggs. But anyway, we went down and there was this old hen, and you know how in a chicken yard where you have a bunch of hens, every once in a while one gets sick and just sits there and doesn't move. Y'all remember how a hen does that? Every once in a while? And didn't die, but it just, you know, you could tell that she was sick because she was listless and she wouldn't eat and she'd just sit around. And Don was chicken-hearted. He would not kill. He'd kill snakes, but he wouldn't kill a chicken. He wouldn't kill a rabbit. He would. If we ran over a dog, or if we hit a dog, you know, like our cat. One time I backed up and ran over our cat, and the cat was in pain, dying. He was so chicken, he wouldn't kill the cat. We had to go get the neighbor to kill the cat to put her out of her misery. That's my husband. He was chicken-hearted. Anyway, so he looked at that chicken, and I looked at her, and I said, that chicken's going to die, and she ought to be killed. But I didn't want to kill it. He didn't want to kill it. He was a little bit embarrassed to go get the neighbor to kill our chicken. So we decided that to get her out of the pen, so if she did have a disease that the other chickens might catch, that they wouldn't catch it. So our solution to the problem was to take her down and put her in the alligator pen and walk away and let nature take its course. So, you know, it was kind of like an execution, but we took the chicken down and we set her down in the alligator pen, and she was on the bank. She was kind of like listless, and she was sitting there and
one foot in the grave.
Yeah. And so we just walked off because we figured she would not last till sundown.
The Ted Bundy story.
Yeah, we just walked away and didn't look back, and we just tried to not think about her fate. And so he went away to work, and so we figured that the alligator had been fed that week. So I didn't go down to the alligator pen to feed him because I figured he had a big fat hen that week for lunch. So about Wednesday, Don was still on the trip. We went down to just check on the alligator. We were all going to prayer meeting to our Wednesday night church. So we went down, all the kids went down with me just to check on the alligator, and bless Pat, there was that hen walking around. Gah, 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 gah. She was scratching and pecking, and she had totally recovered. And the old alligator was sleeping over on the other bank. She was on one bank, and she was walking around scratching and pecking, and she was all well. So we said, well, now that she's well, it would be cruel for us to let him eat her. So let's catch her. So let's catch her. So we started we got a broom and we started shooing her.
Is Dad there?
No, he was gone. This was Wednesday night. He would leave on a Monday and he'd be gone till Saturday or something. He was gone. This was Wednesday, and so we started shooing her around with the broom, and we shoot her to where she would have to just make a little jump, and she would have been on the side where we could there was a gate and we could get out and catch. She was very tame. We could just pick her up. So we were shooing her along, but something startled her. And instead of jumping onto the bank and walking around to the other side where we were heading her, she flew into the water. And that alligator was sound asleep on the bank way across there. And
Heard a
that
splash.
alligator, when she hit that water, that alligator hit the water and just like a bullet darted right to where she was. And we were standing there with our mouths open, and he got her and his jaws went down. We didn't know what she was then. The alligator chomped down on that hand, and all the bones crunched. And then she dove down to the bottom with our hand.
Bubbles.
All the bubbles came out, and Roger, all of the kids and me were standing there crying.
Again, your efforts were in vain.
And she held that. That's what she did. When she would get something, she would go to the bottom, hold it
That's all of them do.
till it died.
They roll with them,
Quit
too.
kicking.
They take them
And
and
then
they'll wrap
she
them up.
surfaced, and the hen's dead and limp now. That's what she does with children too. That's what they did with that little boy. You know, the one that fell into the drowned at first. The daddy jumped in and tried to get the jaws open, and he was holding the little boy underneath and killed it in Florida.
And then it brings it up, and then
And
brings it
then
in.
when she brings it up, she goes like this. She shakes it until she
They do it
shakes it
underwater.
apart.
That's that little alligator does. He grabbed the hamburger and go underwater with it and shake it, and it goes everywhere in the water.
And then, you know, and just shakes it apart, and then she, or limbers it up real good, and then she chomps it down and eats it. But we all stood there and cried. But she was so lazy that she would not get off. She wouldn't get off the bank.
They've been living 300 million years.
Well, she wouldn't get off the bank and chase that chicken.
It's too much
Once the
work.
chicken,
She waited till she fell in the water.
yeah,
Right
once the
opportunity.
chicken, you nearly have to get into the water. The water is the key thing. You know, like when you're in the water, you belong to them.
He looked like he
Their
was
territory,
asleep over
I mean.
there. Just sound asleep. She had not paid
There's no such
attention
thing
to
as
us
sound sleep if there's something to eat in there.
until she heard that chicken hit the water, and just the first splash, she was in the water, and I'll never forget that.
Like a torpedo.
That's what scared me about. That's what
Yeah,
really,
fast, yeah.
really scared me about children. If anybody had ever fallen in there, or waded in there, it would have been gone. That
Yeah.
child or whatever it
They
was. would
said
be gone.
crocodile or alligator is so fast that for all practical purpose you can forget it.
Yeah.
You know, like you a gone gosling if one's out there.
That chicken probably had a certain cry of distress when it hit the water, like, I mean, and the alligator, again, clicked onto that,
Yeah. Food.
Well, a weak situation.